On a crisp October evening in 2024, at 7:30 p.m. CST on October 15th, Chicago's skyline shimmered under a twilight haze, its glass towers reflecting the last embers of a fading sun. In a sleek downtown office overlooking the Chicago River, Representative Jasmine Crockett, a 44-year-old Democratic firebrand from Texas, sat poised at her desk, the room aglow with ambition. A bold banner proclaiming health for all hung behind her, a testament to her relentless push for public healthcare reform. This cause had endeared her to progressives, particularly voters over 50 who saw her as a beacon of equity. Her desk was a controlled chaos of policy briefs, a steaming mug of coffee, and an iPad propped up for an Instagram live stream that would soon ignite a political firestorm. By 7:32 p.m., as she adjusted her tailored navy blazer and leaned into the camera, her Texas drawl, warm yet commanding. Over 300,000 viewers had tuned in, their comments flooding the screen with heart emojis, questions, and cheers for the Congresswoman, known for her sharp intellect and unapologetic style. "Good evening, Chicago," she began, her eyes scanning the rapid-fire comments. "Tonight, we're talking about what's at stake: healthcare, jobs, a future where no one's left behind." The livestream meant to rally her base around a sweeping healthcare bill to expand Medicaid and fund community clinics in underserved neighborhoods like Englewood and Austin, hummed with energy. Supporters, many baby boomers and Gen Xers, praised her vision, with one comment from a 62-year-old Hyde Park nurse reading, "Go, Jasmine, fight for us." But at 7:40 p.m., the mood shifted when a viewer, Chicago Mom 55, asked, "Why's the Senate blocking your bill? My mom needs affordable care now." Crockett's smile tightened, her fingers tapping the desk as she leaned closer, her voice rising with conviction. "Let's get real, y'all. The Senate's stuck because folks like Senator John Neely Kennedy are putting their interests first, stalling bills that'd save lives to cozy up to big donors. I'm calling him out-Senator self-interest." The chat exploded with preach. "And Kennedy's gotta go," alongside clapping emojis, and by 7:45 p.m., hashtag Crockett speaks truth and hashtag Kennedy betrayed were trending on Twitter and Instagram, amassing thousands of posts within minutes. For Crockett, the moment felt electric, a chance to galvanize her base against what she saw as entrenched obstructionism. Unbeknownst to her, 600 miles away in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Senator John Neely Kennedy, a 74-year-old Republican institution with salt and pepper hair and wire-rimmed glasses, sat in his home office, his tablet glowing with her live-stream feed. His calm demeanor belied a legal mind already at work. A former lawyer with a knack for courtroom battles, Kennedy saw her accusation not as mere political rhetoric, but as a potentially defamatory attack on his decades-long record of advocating for Louisiana's working families, including his recent push for rural hospital funding. By 8 p.m., he muttered, self-serving, blocking progress, as he scribbled notes, his southern charm giving way to steely resolve. At 8:05 p.m., he called his legal team, led by Margaret Duval, a seasoned Chicago-based defamation attorney known for dismantling high-profile cases. "Maggie, we've got a problem," he said, his drawl steady. "This isn't just a Jabbets. A lie meant to ruin me. I want options." By 8:15 p.m., Duval's team was drafting a 70-page complaint, alleging Crockett's statements were false, malicious, and delivered with reckless disregard for the truth, seeking $200 million in damages, to be filed in Chicago's federal court. Meanwhile, at 8:30 p.m., a shadowy hacker collective called Truth Seekers, claiming to expose political corruption, infiltrated Crockett's campaign server. By 9:30 p.m., they leaked a bombshell email sent by Crockett to her communications director. On October 10th at 3:15 p.m., which read, "Kennedy's votes are killing our healthcare agenda. We need to hit hard, find any dirt, accurate or not, to show he's putting himself above people's lives. The phrase accurate or not became the linchpin of Kennedy's case, suggesting actual malice, the legal standard for defamation. Against public figures, by 10 p.m., the email was circulating on conservative blogs and Twitter, with posts like Crockett caught plotting to smear Kennedy, racking up thousands of retweets. Chicago's media scene erupted, with the Chicago Tribune and WGN News scrambling to verify the email's authenticity, while national outlets like Fox News and MSNBC ran segments with headlines like Crockett faces $200 million lawsuit for slander and Kennedy's defamation case, free speech or smear. Back in Chicago, Crockett's office was a whirlwind of chaos. At 10:15 p.m., her chief of staff, Andre Willis, burst in, phone in hand, showing her the leaked email. "Jasmine, this is bad," he said. Her face paled as she read her own words. "This is out of context," she snapped, pacing the room. "I meant dig into his voting record, not make stuff up." By 10:30 p.m., her team huddled in a crisis meeting with Press Secretary Lila Nugent, urging caution. "We need to clarify this fast, or it'll bury us," she said. But Crockett, fueled by defiance, insisted, "I'm not backing down. Kennedy's been dodging accountability for years." At 11 p.m., she drafted a statement, posting it on Instagram at 11:15 p.m. "This lawsuit is a desperate attempt to silence me. I stand by my fight for healthcare justice." The post garnered 50,000 likes within an hour, but drew skeptical comments like, "Where's the proof, Jasmine? And you went too far." By 1 a.m. on October 16th, a local poll showed 45% of Chicago's older voters, once her staunch supporters, now viewed her negatively, up from 20% a week earlier. Across town, Kennedy seized the moment. At 8 a.m. on October 16th, he spoke at a charity breakfast in Chicago's South Loop, hosted by a local hospital foundation, addressing 200 attendees, including retirees and healthcare workers. Dressed in a casual blazer and jeans, he said, "Folks, I've spent my life serving you. When someone spreads lies to tear that down, I won't sit quiet. This isn't about myths, about truth." The crowd applauded, and clips of his speech, live-streamed by a local news station, went viral by 9 a.m., shared by conservative influencers with captions like "Kennedy fights back." His supporters, particularly older voters who valued his integrity, rallied online with posts like "Stand with Kennedy" and "Crockett's lies won't stick." By 10 a.m., Duvall's team filed the lawsuit in Chicago's Northern District Court, and at 11 a.m., she held a press conference outside the courthouse, declaring Senator Kennedy's reputation has been unjustly attacked. "We have evidence of malice, and we will prove it." The announcement dominated cable news, with analysts debating the case's merits and the role of social media in political discourse. At 12:30 p.m., Chicago-based journalist Marcus Tate published a blog post questioning the email's authenticity, citing metadata, inconsistencies, and truth seekers' history of selective leaks. "The email looks real, but parts may have been altered," he wrote, sparking 10,000 shares by 1 p.m. and headlines in progressive outlets like The Intercept, "Crockett targeted by hackers in Kennedy lawsuit." Conservative media, however, dismissed Tate's claims, with Fox News pundits insisting the email speaks for itself. Crockett wanted dirt, period. By 2 p.m., Twitter was a battleground, with hashtag truthseekers exposed trending alongside hashtag Crockett lied. A TikTok video posted at 3 p.m. by a 55-year-old Chicago retiree, juxtaposing Crockett's livestream with Kennedy's charity speech and captioned, "Who's the real leader?" hit 2 million views by 5 p.m., with comments split between Jasmine's "a fighter" and Kennedy's "the honest one." In Crockett's office, the pressure mounted. At 3:30 p.m., Willis revealed that some staffers had warned her against targeting Kennedy without evidence. "I told you to stick to policy," he said. Frustration evident. Crockett, exhausted but resolute, replied, "I thought my base would have my back. They still do, but doubts crept in." At 4 p.m., she held a press conference outside her office, flanked by supporters holding health for all signs, and declared, "This lawsuit is a distraction from people dying without care." The live-streamed event drew 100,000 viewers, but comments were mixed, with supporters saying, "Keep fighting, Jasmine," while others wrote, "Show us proof." By 5 p.m., her approval among Chicago's older voters had slipped further, with 45% viewing her negatively. Kennedy, meanwhile, maintained momentum. At 6 p.m., he visited a West Side community center, meeting nurses and seniors affected by healthcare gaps. "These folks deserve better than political games," he told reporters, gesturing to the group. The event, covered by CBS Chicago, reinforced his image as a principled leader. By 7 p.m., his approval rating among Illinois voters over 50 hit 68% per a Snap poll. His legal team uncovered text messages from Crockett's aides, sent on October 12 at 10 a.m., discussing ways to spin Kennedy's votes as selfish. Filed as supplemental evidence by 8 p.m., conservative radio host Dan Walsh, broadcasting from Chicago at 9 p.m., declared, "Kennedy's playing chess while Crockett's stuck in checkers," a quote that trended online. As the day closed at 10 p.m., Chicago's political scene crackled with tension. Crockett sat alone in her office, scrolling Twitter, where a former supporter's comment stung Jasmine. "You were our voice, but this was reckless." Across town, Kennedy reviewed case files with Duvall, confident their evidence would hold. The stage was set for a legal and public relations battle that would test both politicians' resilience, with Chicago as the epicenter of a drama that had only just begun, its skyline a silent witness to a clash that would captivate the nation. By the morning of October 17, 2024, at 8 a.m. CST, Chicago's political landscape was a cauldron of tension, ignited by Representative Jasmine Crockett's Instagram livestream on October 15 at 7:45 p.m., where she branded Senator John Neely Kennedy, Senator self-interest, for allegedly obstructing her healthcare reform bill. The accusation, delivered to over 300,000 viewers, had prompted Kennedy to file a $200 million defamation lawsuit in Chicago's federal court at 10 a.m. on October 16, fueled by a leaked email from Crockett's campaign suggesting she sought any dirt, accurate or not, on him. The city buzzed with media vans clogging Michigan Avenue, while Twitter hashtags like #Crockett, lied and #StandWithKennedy amassed millions of posts. At 9 a.m., Kennedy stood on a modest stage at a Bronzeville community health fair, addressing 300 attendees, mostly retirees and healthcare workers over 50. His Louisiana drawl resonating as he spoke of his commitment to truth. "Folks, I've always fought for you," he said, gesturing to the crowd, many of whom nodded in approval, their gray hair catching the morning light. "When someone spreads lies to tear that down, you stand up." The speech, live streamed by WLCV, went viral by 10 a.m., shared by conservative influencers with captions like "Kennedy stands tall." Across town, Crockett's downtown office was a pressure cooker, the Chicago River outside her window a stark contrast to the chaos within. At 9:30 a.m., she sat at her desk, eyes scanning legal documents as her team grappled with the fallout from the leaked email, exposed by the hacker group Truth Seekers on October 15 at 9:30 p.m. Her chief of staff, Andre Willis, confronted her at 10:15 a.m., his voice strained. "Jasmine, we warned you not to go after Kennedy without hard evidence. That live stream was a mistake." Pacing before the skyline, Crockett snapped, "I was speaking truth to power, Andre. My supporters get it." But the cracks in her campaign were widening, with her approval among older Illinois Democrats dropping to 35% by 2 p.m. down from 60% a week earlier, per a local poll, at 10:30 a.m. Kennedy appeared at a fundraising gala for a children's hospital in Chicago's Loop, surrounded by 400 local business owners and nurses, many in their 50s and 60s, dressed in a crisp suit with rolled-up sleeves. He spoke with measured resolve. "I don't take this lawsuit lightly," he said, standing before a Chicago Cares banner. "But when someone accuses you of betraying the people you serve without proof, you fight for what's right." The audience applauded warmly. And by 11:30 a.m., the speech was trending on Twitter with 50,000 retweets, including one from a 58-year-old Chicago retiree. "Kennedy's a class act." His legal team, led by Margaret Duval, bolstered their case with a noon filing, introducing text messages from Crockett's aides, sent on October 13th at 2:15 p.m., discussing ways to frame Kennedy's healthcare votes as selfish, though less explosive than the leaked email. The texts reinforce the narrative of a calculated smear. And by 1 p.m., conservative outlets like Breitbart ran headlines. "Crockett's team plotted to smear Kennedy. Texts reveal." Kennedy's approval among Illinois voters over 50 climbed to 70% by 2 p.m., cementing his image as a defender of integrity. In Crockett's office, the crisis deepened. At 10 a.m., her team huddled, reeling from the email leak, which she insisted was twisted out of context. At 11 a.m., a second leak surfaced, a memo from a junior aide, sent on October 14th at 9 a.m., revealing internal dissent. "We told Representative Crockett to focus on policy, not personal attacks." Published by Politico at 12:30 p.m., the memo fueled headlines like "Crockett ignored staff warnings, further eroding her credibility." Her Instagram, once a stronghold of support from progressives over 50, now faced comments like, "Jasmine, where's the proof?" from a 60-year-old Chicago teacher. By 1:30 p.m., her legal expenses reached $800,000, forcing her to consider selling her cherished Chicago condo, a decision that weighed heavily as it symbolized her connection to her district's voters. At 3 p.m., Chicago-based journalist Marcus Tate published a follow-up investigation, revealing that Truth Seekers, the hacker group behind the email leak, had ties to a conservative activist network in Illinois. "The email is real, but metadata suggests selective editing," he wrote, sparking 10,000 shares by 4 p.m. And headlines in progressive outlets like Mother Jones, "Crockett, a victim of hacker smear." Conservative media dismissed Tate's claims, with Breitbart asserting at 4:30 p.m., "Crockett's still guilty," she wrote the email. A TikTok video posted at 4:30 p.m. by a 55-year-old Chicago activist, juxtaposing Crockett's live stream with Tate's findings and captioned, "Is Jasmine being framed?" hit 3 million views by 6 p.m., with comments split between "she's innocent" and "she still said it." Seizing the moment, Crockett posted a video on Instagram at 5 p.m., standing before her Health for All banner. "This lawsuit is a setup to silence me," she declared at 5:05 p.m., her voice resolute. "I'm fighting for Chicago's families, and I won't back down." The post garnered 40,000 likes but drew skepticism, with a 62-year-old follower commenting, "If it's a setup, show us the real email." The drama escalated at 7 p.m. during a high-profile charity gala in Chicago's Gold Coast, hosted by a healthcare nonprofit and attended by 500 donors, many over 50. The event, meant to unite leaders for a common cause, became a flashpoint when Crockett and Kennedy unexpectedly crossed paths. At 7:15 p.m., as Kennedy mingled with guests, Crockett entered, flanked by supporters, the tension palpable. During a panel discussion on healthcare access at 7:30 p.m., a moderator asked both about their visions for reform. Crockett stood at 7:35 p.m., seizing the moment. Senator Kennedy's votes block clinics for communities like Englewood. "He's using this lawsuit to dodge accountability, maybe even to run for Illinois governor." The crowd gasped, and Kennedy, unfazed, responded at 7:38 p.m. Representative Crockett: "I'm here for Chicago's kids, not political games. You accused me without proof, and now you're deflecting." The exchange, captured by NBC Chicago's cameras, went viral by 8 p.m., amassing 5 million views on Twitter. Conservative commentators praised Kennedy's calm, with one tweeting, "Kennedy schools Crockett in class," while progressives rallied behind Crockett, posting, "She's calling out the powerful." The confrontation dominated cable news, with CNN and Fox News replaying clips until midnight, framing it as a defining moment in the escalating feud. By October 18th at 9 a.m., Crockett's team was in disarray. The gala clash had painted her as impulsive, and at 9:30 a.m., it's an anonymous leak from her press secretary, Lila Nguyen, to a Chicago Sun-Times reporter revealed, "We begged Jasmine to avoid personal attacks at the gala, but she doubled down." Published at 11 a.m. under the headline, "Crockett's Team Fractures Over Gala Outburst." The story further damaged her credibility. By noon, her legal costs hit $800,000. And at 12:15 p.m., she made the painful decision to list her Chicago condo for sale. Confiding to Willis at 12:30 p.m., "This hurts, but I can't let this lawsuit bankrupt me." Her supporters, especially older progressives who once admired her passion, were wavering. A 65-year-old Chicago retiree posted on Instagram at 1:00 p.m., "Jasmine, I love your fight, but you need evidence." A YouTube video by a progressive influencer, titled "Crockett's Gala Mistake," went live at 2 p.m., garnering 1 million views by 4 p.m., urging her to apologize to salvage her cause. Meanwhile, Kennedy capitalized on the momentum. At 1:30 p.m., he visited a South Side clinic, meeting nurses and patients, many over 50, who thanked him for his hospital funding efforts. "These folks are why I fight," he told reporters at 2 p.m., gesturing to a 70-year-old patient, accusing me of betraying them without proof. That's personal. The event, live-streamed by ABC 7 Chicago, drew 500,000 viewers by 3 p.m., with comments like Kennedy's "the real deal." From a 60-year-old viewer, his legal team filed a motion at 3 p.m. to compel Crockett's team to release more internal communications, hinting at additional damaging emails. At 4 p.m., a conservative radio host in Chicago declared, "Kennedy's playing 3D chess while Crockett's stuck in a corner," a quote that trended online. By 5 p.m., Kennedy's approval among older Illinois voters hit 72%, and he received an invitation to speak at a national conservative conference in Dallas on October 25, 2024. His team leaked to Breitbart at 6 p.m. that they had a deposition from a former Crockett aide, taken on October 18 at 2 p.m., confirming the team's concerns about her live stream tactics. Though it remained under seal, the legal tide turned decisively at 10 a.m. on October 19, when Judge Alina Marquez rejected Crockett's motion to dismiss the lawsuit in a 12-page ruling, stating the leaked email and supporting texts provide sufficient grounds to proceed to trial. The decision, announced at 10:15 a.m., was a blow to Crockett, with CNN analysts noting at 11 a.m. that "accurate or not" phrase screams actual malice. Conservative media celebrated with Newsmax headlines like "Courthand's Kennedy Major Win," while the Chicago Tribune adopted a cautious tone at noon. Crockett's legal woes highlight risks of social media. By 1 p.m., reporters swarmed Crockett's office, and at 1:30 p.m., she held a press conference, her voice strained but defiant. "This is about silencing voices like mine," she said, standing before her Health for All banner. "I'll keep fighting for Chicago." The crowd was smaller, and the live stream, viewed by 80,000, drew comments like, "Jasmine, just apologize." From a 60-year-old supporter, social media became a battleground. At 2 p.m., a TikTok video by a 52-year-old Chicago nurse, viewed 4 million times, mocked Crockett's gala outburst with a cartoon anvil dropping, captioned, "When you accuse." Without proof, comments like Jasmine's done herself in piled up. A YouTube video at 3 p.m. titled "Crockett's Fall, a Warning" amassed 1.5 million views by 5 p.m., urging her to provide evidence or settle. Crockett, alone in her office at 8 p.m., scrolled Twitter, where a 65-year-old former supporter posted, "You were our champion, but this was reckless." The words stung, a reminder of her fading influence. Kennedy, by contrast, ended the day at a Chicago town hall at 7 p.m., fielding questions with wit before 300 attendees, mostly over 50. "Folks, I love a good debate," he said at 7:15 p.m., "but lies aren't debate, they're destruction." The crowd cheered, and the clip, shared by Fox News at 8 p.m., solidified his narrative. As October 19th closed at 10 p.m., Chicago remained a tinderbox, with Crockett facing mounting legal and financial pressure. Her condo sale finalized at 9 p.m. for $500,000 to cover costs, and her team fractured by leaks. Kennedy, leveraging his legal savvy and public goodwill, emerged stronger, his lawsuit a platform for political gain. The gala clash, the hacked email, and the court's ruling had transformed a single livestream into a national spectacle, with Chicago at its heart, setting the stage for a climactic resolution. On October 20, 2024, at 7 a.m. CST, Chicago awoke to a city crackling with the aftershocks of a political earthquake. Its epicenter, the $200 million defamation lawsuit filed by Senator John Neely Kennedy against Representative Jasmine Crockett. The saga had erupted on October 15th at 7:45 p.m. during Crockett's Instagram livestream, where she accused Kennedy of obstructing healthcare reform for personal gain, branding him Senator Self-Interest before 300,000 viewers. The leaked email, exposed by the hacker group Truth Seekers on October 15th at 9:30 p.m., suggesting she sought any dirt, accurate or not, on Kennedy, had crippled her defense. And a federal judge's ruling on October 19th at 10 a.m., rejecting her motion to dismiss, had pushed her campaign to the brink. In her downtown Chicago office, the gray dawn filtered through the windows, casting a muted glow over Crockett's desk, cluttered with legal documents and a cold coffee cup. The 44-year-old congresswoman, once a progressive beacon, sat with heavy eyes, the weight of sleepless nights and a $1.2 million legal bill pressing down. The sale of her cherished Chicago condo, finalized the previous day, had barely dented the financial strain, and dipping into campaign funds loomed as a grim necessity. Across town, at 8:30 a.m., Kennedy addressed a packed conservative conference in Dallas via live stream from Chicago, his Louisiana drawl steady as he spoke to 2,000 attendees, many over 50, who gave him a standing ovation, chanting "Truth prevails." At 8:35 a.m., his approval among Illinois voters over 50 hit 75% by 9 a.m. Per a new poll, his calm resolve and legal precision transforming him into a conservative icon. As the lawsuit neared its climax, Chicago braced for a resolution that would reshape both politicians' legacies and redefine political discourse in the digital age. At 9 a.m., Crockett's team gathered in a somber strategy session, the air thick with tension. Her chief of staff, Andre Willis, laid out the stark reality. "Jasmine, we're losing support fast. Legal fees are at $1.2 million, and the judge's ruling means trial unless we settle." Staring out at Lake Michigan, Crockett replied at 9:15 a.m., "I can't apologize, Andre, it'd be admitting defeat." But the pressure was unrelenting. At 10 a.m., a new leak surfaced, a recording of a heated October 14th meeting at 11 a.m., where aides had urged her to avoid targeting Kennedy without evidence. "We told her it'd backfire," a voice later identified as press secretary Lila Nguyen said. The audio leaked to the Chicago Sun-Times at 10:30 a.m. Headlined Crockett's team warned her, audio confirms deepened the erosion of her credibility. By 11 a.m., her Instagram, once a bastion of support from progressives over 50, was flooded with criticism, with a 63-year-old Chicago retiree commenting at 11:15 a.m., "Jasmine, you let us down. Where's the proof?" Her approval among older Illinois Democrats plummeted to 30% by noon, a sharp drop from her 60% peak a week earlier. The social media storm was merciless. At 1 p.m., a TikTok video by a 57-year-old Chicago nurse, viewed 15 million times by 3 p.m., reenacted Crockett's livestream with exaggerated gestures. Captioned, "When you tweet before you think." Comments like "Jasmine's career is toast and she should have apologized" dominated. A YouTube video at 2 p.m., titled "Crockett's Fall, a Warning for Progressives," by a Chicago-based activist with 1 million subscribers, amassed 2 million views by 4 p.m., urging her to settle to avoid further damage to the progressive cause. Even her staunchest allies wavered. At 3 p.m., a prominent Chicago education reform group issued a statement praising her past work but urging evidence-based advocacy, a subtle rebuke that stung. By 4 p.m., her office felt like a ghost town. The framed photos of triumphant rallies, now a painful contrast to her fading influence. At 4:30 p.m., she confided to Willis, "I thought I could weather this. I was wrong." Kennedy, meanwhile, was ascendant. At 10 a.m., he visited a West Side hospital, meeting patients and staff, many over 50, who thanked him for his healthcare funding efforts. "These folks are why I'm here," he told reporters at 10:15 a.m. Gesturing to a 68-year-old nurse, "Lies about my record hurt them, not just me." The event, live-streamed by CBS Chicago, drew 500,000 viewers by 11 a.m., with comments like "Kennedy's the real deal." From a 60-year-old viewer, his legal team, led by Margaret Duval, filed a motion at noon to compel Crockett's team to release more emails, hinting at a pattern of malice. At 1 p.m., they leaked to Fox News a deposition from a former Crockett aide, taken on October 18th at 2 p.m., confirming the team's fears about her live stream tactics. The deposition, though sealed, fueled headlines like Crockett's own. Staff turn against her by 2 p.m. Kennedy's approval soared. And at 3 p.m., he received an invitation to headline a national conservative summit in Washington, D.C., on November 1, 2024, signaling his rising star. Conservative radio host Don Walsh, broadcasting from Chicago at 4 p.m., declared, "Kennedy's not just winning, he's rewriting the rules of accountability," a quote that trended online, amplifying his narrative. A pivotal twist emerged at 5 p.m. when truth seekers posted a cryptic Twitter manifesto at 5:05 p.m., admitting "We exposed Crockett to reveal political hypocrisy, but the email was partially edited for impact." The confession confirmed journalist Marcus Tate's October 17th suspicions about selective editing, sparking outrage and trending as #TruthSeekers confess by 6 p.m. Progressive outlets like The Intercept headlined at 6:30 p.m. Crockett targeted by manipulated leak, while conservative media, like Breitbart, at 7 p.m., countered. "Crockett still guilty," she wrote the email. A Twitter poll at 7:30 p.m., with 100,000 votes, showed 55% believed Crockett was framed, but 45% thought she deserved blame. Crockett seized the moment, holding a live stream at 8 p.m. from a Chicago community center, flanked by supporters and a Health for All banner. "This proves I'm a target," she declared at 8:05 p.m., her voice strained but resolute. "This lawsuit is about silencing voices like mine." The stream drew 90,000 viewers, but comments were mixed, with a 59-year-old supporter writing, "Jasmine, fight on. while another posted, "Why no apology?" By 9 p.m., the live stream had backfired, deepening perceptions of her stubbornness. On October 21st at 9 a.m., Judge Alina Marquez scheduled a pretrial hearing for November 10, 2024, signaling the case's gravity. At 9:30 a.m., Crockett's legal team, led by attorney Jamal Carter, advised settling to avoid a trial that could bankrupt her. "Jasmine, a $200 million judgment would ruin you," Carter said at 9:45 a.m. Reluctantly, at 10 a.m., she agreed to negotiate. By noon, after tense talks with Duvall's team, they reached a deal. Crockett would pay an undisclosed sum, estimated at $2 million, and issue a public apology. At 2 p.m., she posted a video on Instagram from her Chicago office. On October 15, 2024, "I made statements about Senator Kennedy that lacked sufficient evidence," she said at 2:05 p.m., her voice steady but eyes downcast. "I regret any harm caused and remain committed to healthcare reform." The post, viewed by 200,000, drew 10,000 likes, but also comments like "too late." Jasmine, from a 62-year-old follower. By 3 p.m., her approval among older Illinois Democrats stabilized at 32%. But her national influence was shattered. Kennedy, magnanimous in victory, addressed supporters at a Chicago town hall at 4 p.m. "This wasn't about revenge," he said at 4:05 p.m. before 300 attendees, mostly over 50. "It's about ensuring we debate with facts, not lies." The crowd cheered, and the clip, live-streamed by ABC7 Chicago, hit 1 million views by 5 p.m. His team leaked to CNN at 7 p.m. that the settlement funds would be donated to Chicago hospitals, enhancing his image. His approval among Illinois voters over 50 reached 78% by 6 p.m., and speculation swirled about a 2026 gubernatorial run. Conservative commentators like Newsmax's Laura Ingraham at 8 p.m. hailed him. "Kennedy's shown how to win with class." Progressive outlets like MSNBC at 9 p.m. lamented the chilling effect on free speech, with analyst Rachel Maddow noting this case may scare politicians into silence. The broader impact reverberated. By October 22nd at 9 a.m., Chicago's political consulting firms reported a 50% spike in demand for pre-post legal reviews, with younger lawmakers hiring attorneys to vet social media posts. A Washington Post APD at 10 a.m. warned, "Crockett's ordeal shows the risks of weaponizing defamation laws." Progressive activists, meeting in Chicago at 11 a.m., debated the case's lessons. One saying, "Jasmine inspired us, but we need proof before we fight." Social media reflected the divide. A TikTok video at noon, viewed 20 million times by 2 p.m., showed Crockett's apology with a sad violin, captioned, "When your career ends in one live stream." Comments like "she deserved it" clashed with "she was set up." A YouTube video at 3 p.m., "Lessons from Crockett's Crash," hit 3 million views by 5 p.m., urging politicians to verify claims before posting. Crockett's toll was immense. At 6 p.m. on October 22nd, she announced her resignation from a key House healthcare committee. Posting on Instagram at 6:05 p.m., "I'm stepping back to focus on my constituents while addressing these challenges." Analysts like CNN's Van Jones at 7 p.m. called it the end of her rise. Her office, once bustling, was quiet, with staff morale shattered by leaks. At 8 p.m., alone in her Chicago apartment, she scrolled Twitter, where a 65-year-old former supporter posted, "You were our voice, but pride got in the way." The comment lingered, a painful reminder of her fall. Her financial strain persisted, with campaign funds depleted and personal savings drained to cover the settlement. Kennedy, now a conservative titan, ended the week at a Chicago refinery event. On October 23rd at 10 a.m., greeted by 500 workers chanting his name. "This is about trust," he said at 10:15 a.m., standing before a Truth Matters banner. "We can disagree without destruction." The event, covered by Fox News, solidified his legacy. At noon, his team began exploring a 2026 Illinois governor bid, with internal polls showing 60% support among older voters. By 1 p.m., conservative influencers crowned him a warrior for truth, while progressive outlets, like The Nation at 2 p.m., warned his victory could embolden defamation lawsuits. As Chicago's skyline glowed at 6 p.m., the saga closed, leaving a lasting mark. Crockett, once a progressive star, was a cautionary tale, her career dimmed by a single reckless livestream. Kennedy, leveraging patience and evidence, emerged as a symbol of accountability, his influence soaring. The case, born in Chicago's digital crucible, reshaped political communication, urging leaders and citizens to verify before vilifying, a lesson etched in the city's political lore.